How to make a temporary file on Ubuntu Linux with Bash. The mktemp command on Fedora-based systems and the tempfile command on Debian-based systems are especially designed to alleviate that burden by making it easy to create, use, and remove unique files. When programming in the Bash scripting language, you sometimes need to create a temporary file. For instance, you might need to have an intermediary file you can commit to disk so you can process it with another command. You know, it's easy to just create a file such as temp or anything ending in .tmp. However, those names are just as likely to be generated by other processes or by the system. So you could accidentally overwrite an existing temporary file as opposed to the one that you wanted to overwrite. And besides that, you shouldn't have to, expend mental effort coming up with names that are, unique. So the mktemp command on Fedora-based systems and the tempfile command on Debian-based systems, which is Ubuntu, which is what we're going to work with now, are especially designed to alleviate that burden by making it easy to create, use, and remove unique file names. Okay, so we're going to be working in Ubuntu 22.04 here. So we're going to check and see if mktemp and tempfile are here or not. Okay, so we're going to go for the mktemp command here. Let's see if it's installed on our Ubuntu. Okay, it's installed and it created something. Now we'll get into the meat of this in a moment. So let's just see the version real quick here. Mktemp, and it's a double dash V. Okay, there you go. Yeah, it's most major distros include the core utils by default. And it's the same package that contains the chmod, cut, and du, and other essential commands as well. So you can see here, this mktemp is part of the new core utilities. And let's see if we have. Let's clear this, and let's see if we have the temp file, which I believe is deprecated. Oop. Keyed it in wrong. Okay, temp file. Okay, temp file. It's deprecated. Consider using mktemp instead. Okay, so what did I say before? I said that the mktemp was on Fedora, but it's also available here as well. So we're going to use both. We're going to try to focus more on the mktemp as opposed to the temp file. But if that needs to be used, then we're going to go ahead and use that as well if we can't do it with mktemp. So there's the version here. Okay, so they're both installed. Okay, we're good to go with the commands that we need to work with. Okay, so we're going to create a temporary file. Both mktemp and tempfile create a temporary file as their default action, and they put into a default location, and they print the name and location of the file as output. Okay, so let's first invoke tempfile. This is for creating a temporary file. So we just key in tempfile, and then forget the warning, and then you see right here it puts it in this path right here into the temp folder, and this is the unique file name right here. And then we'll do the same thing for mktemp. Just key it in like that, and there's no deprecation warning. And you can see it's in this path here. The temp folder. I'm not sure. This is like the temp subdirectory with this extent. I'm not sure how this works out here. But you can see that this is the path though. The temp folder, and then here's the file name. I guess it'd be temp.this right here. So unless you specify a different path, the system's going to put it into they're both going to put it into the temp directory here. In the The temp file also put it into the same directory here, /tmp. So they both have their default locations they put it in. So if we want to actually, put it into folders where that we want it to be in, if you want to customize the path, then we can specify an actual path. So let's go ahead and do that now. We're going to specify paths, and we're going to bypass the default path. Okay, so we're going to make a couple of folders here for our demonstration purposes. Okay. The first one I'm going to put onto the root of the home folder will be make_dir, and I'm going to call it mktemp demo. Okay, and then I'm going to make another one for tempfile demo. Okay, and we'll check it real quick in the file system here. And they should be over here. Make temp demo and temp file. Okay, they're both created. Okay, good. So we're going to clear out of here. Now we're going to invoke the make temp command again. So it's going to make a temporary file. Except this time we're going to have it. We're going to have it directed here into the make temp demo right here. So it's going to put the temporary file here instead of putting it way back into the and so it's just so much easier when it's in your home directory. You don't have to go back and back to the root and then go to the temp directory. You don't have to really leave here. You can just stay home, and this is a good place to put it. You know where it is. Okay, enter on that, and boom, here's the path. Home Paul, make temp, and then here's the temporary file here. So all we did was just we bypassed its default location and we saved it into our home folder. Home folder into the make temp demo subfolder, and then here's the file. Let's take a look at that real quick. Make temp demo, and then there's the okay. And then we're going to go ahead and nano on that. There's nothing in there. It's empty. Okay, good. Then we'll get out of there. Yes, we want to save that. Okay. So, yeah, this is the file name. The temp dot, and then this is... You think that, it would be the other way around, where this would be the name and the dot temp would be the extension, but it's the other way around. It's temp dot, this unique name here, this alphanumeric name here. Okay, and then for making a customized location for the temp file, we're going to invoke temp file, and we're going to give it this flag here. So the directory flag is going to say we want to bypass the default location, the temp folder, and we're going to put it into our own customized, we're going to put it into our own personal preference right here. We're going to put it here. Okay, again, ignore the warning, and you can see it did the same thing. It put it into the home directory, into the temp file demo folder we created, and you can see here you don't have that temp dot, the alphanumeric name extension. You just have this right here, which is file, then the alphanumeric here. So it's a little different. Okay, now we don't really have to find them, but let's say we want to find them and we forgot where they're at. So we're gonna try to find these temporary files, assuming we forgot where they were located, where they were saved to. Okay, finding your temporary file, the problem with using an auto-generated temporary file is that you have no way of knowing what the name is going to be beforehand. That's why both commands return the generated file name as output, which we saw. Let's go back and take a look at that real quick. So when we invoked it, the output is there, and we got the same output we got the path output for the temp file as well. So in our terminal, we can use the file name displayed in the terminal in the output here to interact with the file. However, if you're writing a script, there's no way for you to intervene by reading the name of the file and using it in the following commands. In other words, if you're just in the terminal doing stuff, then you could use this. But if you're in a script and you don't know what the name is going to be, then that could be a problem. So the authors of mktemp and tempfile thought of that problem, and there's an easy fix. The terminal sends the output to a stream called standard out, which I believe is like a C or C++ API. So it's going to send this. It's going to send this output to a stream. So you can capture the standard out by setting a variable to the results of a command launched in the subshell. So it's going to put this into a variable for us. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that now. We're going to create a variable. So let's clear this. And we're going to call our variable tempfile. And we're going to set that to this value here. To the mktemp command. And then to that mktemp directory the demo right here. So we're going to enter on this. So it took that output that was coming to the screen. It's going to be redirected. That value is going to be redirected and stored in this tempfile variable, bash file, this bash variable here, and then we're just going to echo that out. And then we're going to call that variable and print its value to the screen here. And it should have that path. Okay, good. So you can interact with this temp file in your bash script. So yeah, use that temp file echo command here when referring to the file. And it's the same as interacting directly with the file itself. Okay, so now we're going to create a temp. So up until now we've just created temporary files. Now we're going to create a temporary directory with mktemp. Okay, so yeah, you can also use the mktemp command to create a directory instead of a file. So let's go ahead and do that now. Again, we're going to invoke mktemp. Always have to be lowercase. And then we're going to flag in the directory flag here. We're going to pass in the directory flag here to let mktemp know that it's going to be a directory instead of a file. And then same thing, we're going to go to that mktemp demo folder that we created, and we're going to enter on that. Okay. And here's the directory here. Okay, so yeah, we're going to make that temporary directory with the mktemp, and we're going to pass in the directory flag again, and it's going to create a subdirectory in that mktemp demo directory that we created earlier. Okay, this right here, it looks like a file, like the same format that we had for the file, but it's actually a directory, and we can verify that by cding into that directory and seeing what's in here. These ones that aren't colorized here, these are the files, And then these blue ones here are the temporary subdirectories that we just created with the make temp with the directory, the dash directory flag here. Okay, so let's check that VX4L. Let's look for that here. Okay, right here, VX4L. So we can just CD into it like any other. Okay, let's key in that first one, see if it auto completes. Okay, there it is. So then now we're into that temporary subdirectory we just created. We can go back and check the permissions on it, on that temporary folder we just created. Okay. So this is that temporary directory we just created in the make temp demo directory, and we just did an ls-ld, which gives us the permissions and the ownership and the ownership of the user and the group that owns it here. As you can see, Paul is the owner, Paul group is the owner, and it's a directory. You got the D here. Otherwise, if you weren't inside if you didn't do the D, then you wouldn't see the D here, showing it's a directory. So as you can see, the only permissions for anything is for the user, Paul, and that would be RWX. Everybody else, whether you're in another group or you're outside of a group or you're not the owner, you're not going to be able to do anything here. So that's how we did that. That's how we created the temporary directory there. Now one last section here. Let's clear this. Go back to the starting point here. Sometimes you might want an element of predictability even in your pseudo randomly generated file names. So you can customize the names of your temp files with both commands. So with make temp, we can add a suffix, which will be after the file name, not before. Before it will be a prefix. A suffix will be after the file name. Okay, so let's go ahead and customize it. Let's go ahead and invoke make temp one last time. And we want to put the temp file into that make temp demo folder that we created. Except this time we're going to tack on some extra flags here. Dash suffix flag, and we're going to tack on a .mine extension here. Okay, so it tacked on an extension here. It already had temp.this, and then we have .mine. So we customize. I think you can make this whatever you want here. We'll do mine for this demonstration here, and then you can just go into it, and you can find it with LSA here, and there it is right there. That's your temp file that with your customized file extension here. And you could do the same thing with the temp-file command as well. Okay, let's try that with temp-file we can also set a prefix and a suffix as well. So let's see how that looks real quick. Temp file. I'm going to create a temporary directory. And we're going to put it into that temp file demo folder that we created before. And then we're going to add a prefix to it here. And then we're going to add a suffix. So we're going to have stuff before and after. So here's the full command for customizing the temporary name using the temp file command. Here's the full command here. So it's actually going to be, we're going to be making an actual, we're going to be passing in, hold on. Okay, one last time. So to create a customized temporary folder name with the temp file, we're going to use this command. This directory flag here just redirects it from its default location in the slash temp directory, and it's going to put it into our custom-made temp file demo folder. And then we're going to have -- prefix, and the prefix will be TT. Now remember before, when we created a temp file before, it just had the file name. It didn't have any prefix before. And then it'll have TT before the name, and then at the end it'll have a .mine suffix. So here, so without the prefix, we would have this point forward. Of course, in the mine is the suffix here. So this would be the suffix, and this would be the prefix. Before, we just had this right here. These 6 characters here. So we added that as the prefix and that as the suffix. Of course, you can make whatever you want. For demo purposes, we did TT for the prefix and the .mine as the suffix. So we customized it. Okay, so a quick little recap here. You could make temporary files and directories using the temp file and the mktemp commands. And we went ahead, we created temporary files, and we put them in the default locations, and we also changed them to customized locations into our home folder, but as opposed to the temp folder. And then we found out how we can find them and store the value of that generated temporary file name into an actual bash file, a bash shell script variable. And then we echo that value out to the screen. And then we went ahead and customized the name so that we can find them a little bit easier and work with them a little easier than just going with whatever default name that is given to them. Okay, that's it. Thank you for watching. Thank you. I look forward to your feedback and your comments. Thank you.